Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the Whisky Tasters. I'm Charles McGilvray and I'm once again joined by Martin O'Brien. Hello Martin.
Hello.
And of course Alex Coombs all the way over in Dubai. How you doing everyone? Everyone good?
Good. Yeah. I'll have a clue behind me what we're tasting today.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that leads us into the fact that we're doing the Lagavulin 16. Beautiful. Let's get cracking.
I love scotch. Scotch is scotch.
For relaxing times. There's a special rung in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch. Seeing as I may be rapping on the door momentarily. I must say, damn good stuff, sir.
With the packaging, what do you think?
I don't really see it behind my Lagavulin thing.
Oh,
but,
the invisible version there.
I've got the invisible version, yeah. So look.
Quick question, because I can't remember. How much is this in sterling?
It was around the 50 quid mark.
50 quid.
On the 50 quid mark.
Yeah.
Which is similar to the one we had last time.
Yeah.
I think.
So, yeah. First impressions for me, when you compare it to the, from a branding and packaging perspective, comparing it to the last whiskey we had, which was the Intrigue, it looks so much nicer.
Yeah, I agree.
It's that beautiful shade of kind of green, dark green. It looks historic. It looks prestigious. The Islay up to the owners now, doing a great job of it.
They've even gone to like the extreme detail of on the like on the bottle, you've got the print on it. It's got a little bit of flair, a little bit of edging around it, and then on the printed version, they've got the same thing, so it looks like it's been stuck on.
And it's got the signature on the side of the box as well.
Yes, yeah, it's pretty tidy.
I'm not a fan of the packaging now. I get what you're saying, but for me, it's just a bit meh. It doesn't really stand out to do anything.
I don't think it needs to. I think everybody knows what it's about, and it just, this is the Lagavulin. I get what you mean. Like, if you didn't know the brand, you probably wouldn't give it a second look. But I think it has got that prestige, and it has got the accolades, and I think it just, for me, exactly. This is just classic done well.
Yeah, agreed. I think because it's got that prestige of being, it's one of the classic malts of Scotland. I think like you say, it can be a bit understated. And the little Mackie signature on the side goes back to the history of how it was formed. I think this oozes, compared to the Intrigue, this just oozes history and prestige. Whereas that one seemed like a brand new, really, without that same sort of impact as this one.
Yeah, I get what you mean. There's a lot more historic than the last couple of weeks, the one we did last week. I think the bottom, going on to the bottom, looks really well. It doesn't really go with the packaging for me, though.
What? You think the bottle looks a bit more of a...
I think the bottle looks better.
Shape.
It literally looks like a decent whiskey, whereas obviously the Loch Lomond kind of just looks like a bottle with a Loch Lomond sticker stuck on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely got a uniqueness to it, hasn't it? The shape of the bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, Charles is pouring already.
Yeah, they're getting it lined up. Yeah, I think so. With the history of the whiskey, so it can this one, unlike the last one, can legitimately claim to be one of the oldest whiskies in Scotland, especially one of the oldest whiskies from, is it Islay? The island?
Islay.
Islay. It was formed by two individuals who set up two whiskey distilleries on the south of the island. One which was a farmer called John Johnston.
You'll read the box.
The Archibald Campbell. Yeah. But I did also do a bit of research on it, and then they formed together. But there's actually history that goes back even further than the 1816 on the bottle of illicit distillery action. Before it became as an illegal activity. So that they really can claim that this area and these people, this company as such, has produced whiskey for close to, over 200 years. So, like I said, this comes with a lot of pedigree, this whiskey.
And first legal distillery in Lagavulin, as it says on the bottle to pronounce.
Yeah, it also means hollow of the mill. That's what it translates.
So
I think it's an interesting one for me as well. They don't appear in any blends. They don't blend anything. Everything, I think we said something like 95% of the whiskey they produce all goes into a single malt. And to my knowledge, there aren't any specialist bottlings that are bottling Lagavulin under their own label. So not only, does it look prestigious, but I think, they've set such a high marker for themselves. They're like, everything that we produce has to be good enough to be a single malt, and go into our own bottling, which I think is fantastic. I think, it's just, there's no adulteration there. It's just, they make the best stuff that they can do. And I think that's why it's, won so many awards and won so many fans.
Here's a question for both of you. So just looking at the packaging, you're in the supermarket, it's on the shelf, it's 50 quid. Do you think it's value for money just on appearance?
It's hard to tell, isn't it?
Never judge a book by its
I think
cover.
it looks nice. I think it looks great. But then I've got kind of rose-tinted spectacles on because I know the brand. If I was new to whiskey, at 50 quid, I don't know. You see something like in like a Bowmore or something like that might be a bit more exuberant, or something like one of the Highland Parks or the heritage around it and the Viking kind of imagery, and obviously a lower price point, and you could be swayed from that. But people who know whiskey know Lagavulin, so
yeah, I think it's not chucking itself out there because it's backing its quality. It's understated with its branding or whatever because it's got the pedigree in the name and the quality behind the whiskey. I mean, talking about the quality, they're one of the slowest distillation processes when it comes to making this whiskey. First is up to 5 hours, and then the second distillation goes on up to 9 hours long in pear-shaped pots. What do you think of that, Mark?
Good knowledge. Yes, it is a slow distillation process and double distilled. And I think they have a very small gap between the mash and the copper. Try and kind of eliminate as much kind of contact as possible. You're trying to get kind of the purest spirit as you can. But also I know that they take a very large the heart of it is quite large. So they're looking forward to the phenols in there as well. And I think the reason for that, and we'll get into it when we start tasting it, is there's loads of interesting stuff that's going in to make this whiskey, and water is clearly one of them, and that's, there's going to be huge abundance when it's going through the distillation process. So they've got this down, I think, to a really fine art, using really unique equipment. They've got a very slow kind of process. It's a very cherished product, I think, and I think that all kind of comes out in the glass.
I think the final thing to note before we get into the smell, the nose of it and everything, is the location. I mean, compared to the Inchimirren, which is a Highlands whiskey, this is not only is this an Islay whiskey, but it's full on the coast. You can see from the picture behind you, Martin, their distillery is south of the island, fully on the coast. It's sort of, you can, the imagery of the rocks on the sea and the water crashing against it. It's a very different location to the one we had last time, and therefore I think you've got to think about that and consider that when we get into tasting as well. And
100%.
I think
100%.
with this, it truly is a reflection of that. But we'll get on with it.
Yeah, definitely.
You smell it? Get a nose?
I'll have a look while you do that. We'll just look at the colour as well. And
Which we
again,
can't see on yours, so I'll put
can't
it
see
up
on
on
mine. So
my technical
yeah,
equipment.
looking at Charles's, we have a lovely dark colour, but what has been different from Lagavulin compared to the Intrigue is there's no caramel added to this. There's no colouring added to this at all, and this is all down to barrel age. And obviously, this is a 16. No caramel added to this one.
Sure, there's no colouring. I thought there was colouring.
I didn't think Lagavulin added colouring. Well, they sniffed at that. And one will need to check. And if you do know, write in the comments.
That'd be perfect. And subscribe while you're at it.
Subscribe, exactly, yeah. So I believe there's no colouring added to this and no chill filtration. But it's a 16-year-old spirit rather than the 12 that we were drinking last time round. Plus, big exposure. Charles, you were saying, the distillery right on the coast, right exposed to the elements. The barrel warehouse itself is essentially open to the sea, which one is going to influence the flavors that we're getting, but also it's going to kind of help in that kind of extraction and the temperature, diurnal temperatures that you're getting as well, and kind of extracting that colour from the barrel. We'll also get onto the barrel used as well, but this is a bourbon and sherry barrel whiskey. You're certainly going to get some colourings there as well. But yeah, beautiful brown colour, really indicative of the age of the spirit that's gone in there as well. Right, let's go into the nose. Oh, Alex, you got a point?
Yeah, I know. I've already gone on to the nose. I think it's quite underassuming. It doesn't hit you straight away. It's quite in a nice way. Obviously, with Loch Lomond, you can feel it back in straight away. This actually just smells better.
Yeah, and obviously in week 2, so we've only got one whiskey to compare it to. But I think where we said with the Intrigue, it was it knocked you out. It was whoa, here's all this big orange and raisin notes and big spice and vanilla. With the Lagavulin, it's a more restrained, definitely, and it kind of builds and builds and builds. And for me, sorry, Charles.
I'd say yeah. When you say that, I'd say yes and no. I mean, it doesn't have the same alcohol hit vapor that the Intrigue has, but it does have. I mean, it has that huge, and I think I probably interrupted you saying it, but it has that really, really strong peatiness, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
That is very overpowering, and that I think sometimes it's hard you have to really keep at it to get the rest of it because that hits you bang, doesn't it?
It's one of the smokiest whiskies on Islay, certainly.
Second only to the Frog, I think.
Yeah, but you're getting peat, from the maltings itself, from the drying of the malt, but also the water source, which comes from a loch 200 meters or so above the distillery. The water is flowing through the peat as well, which they use. So you've got a double bash of peat in this. So you are getting that lovely smoky, tarry note, but you're getting a lot of cast your mind to being at the seaside and sea spray on a cold day and that kind of iodine smell. And again, real kind of impact from that coastal area. Then you're getting that lovely sea spray, iodine, almost fishy note as well, but in a good way. One thing I get from this, and it's really, really weird because I hate them, but kind of mackerel, kind of smoked mackerel.
Yeah, I can get where you're going with that.
You see what I mean? A smoked fish.
I don't quite get the fishy bit.
It's not fishy as in a gone off kind of thing. It's kind of
I know what you mean.
Kippers kind of, and it may be because I'm quite attuned to the smell because it's not something I would normally like. But
for me, it's when you say seaside mackerel, you get the almost barbecue charred smell that you would get associated with cooking a mackerel. I definitely get that, but I don't necessarily get. And I get definitely the sea salt for sure. The name of that loch from which the water comes?
I don't, Charles, but I've got a feeling you might be able to tell me.
It's Lagavulin.
I think it's the Loch Schumann.
It sounds like something Michael Jackson would say.
Shalom.
Shalom.
I think it's something like that. Lock Shalom, I think.
Yeah.
Shalom.
Yeah. Shalom.
Shalom. I think yeah, let's get onto it.
Well, you can feel it straight away on your tongue. I can feel it on my tongue before I even feel it at the back of my throat. But it's not overpowering. But you can, the smokiness is the big thing which kicks in for me.
So yeah, it's delicious. It's so good. Everything's so put together really well. So yeah, you get that smokiness at the beginning, you get that salinity, that kind of sea spray, and then I get kind of those kind of orchard fruits a little bit of apple, some orange, some citrus in there, and then that goes to the dried fruits, and then I get kind of the currants, the raisins, which is all the kind of sherry influence. And then it kind of finishes on sweet spice and some more smoke. And it's a lovely journey. It's just really nicely put together. The length is crazy. You know, you have a little bit, put it down, a minute later, you can still taste it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it definitely goes. It's first of all, it's so smooth. I mean, it really doesn't have that real kick of a lot of whiskies. This one is so smooth, and then you start with it's like gnawing on an oak. It's very oaky, and then it goes it sort of goes through that, and you go into sort of almost like a smoker's room or smoker's lounge sort of smokiness.
Yeah.
And then as it goes through that, you get to the dried fruits, not so much the apple. I don't get a lot of citrus with this one, but get a huge amount of spice sort of fruits to it.
There's more orange citrus I get than lemon lime.
Yeah.
Do either of you get like a bit of black tea?
I was going to say that actually with the more with the smell than the taste, but huge, like a tea smell to it.
One of the signature profile of Lagavulin is a smoked tea, a Lapsang Souchong, which a lot of people probably haven't had.
From the seesaw from Lake Shalom.
Yeah. Say that after a few of these, but it's interesting because one of the notes that I do get is like a grapey flavour, and black tea, Darjeeling in particular, has a muscatel note, which is a grapey flavour. So it's quite interesting. I don't get the tea straight away, but I get something which is indicative of like premium black teas, and then I kind of get that kind of smoky, kind of grassy note as well. But what I like about this is that and again, comparing it to the Inspirer, and everything was kind of, it was interesting. I think that's what he said, but everyone was fighting for attention. It was like, here's some pears, here's some wood spice, here's some smoke. This is just, it's elegant and it's put together, and it's just,
this
that's a beautiful story.
Amazing. Yeah, I am a big fan of this taste. I mean,
it's definitely one of the better whiskies I've ever had. It is just much easier to drink. There's no after effect. It's just enjoyable from the off.
Yeah, and it's like you said with the Inchmurin, it was all over the place. It had a bit of everything in it. Yeah. This is, we're an Islay whiskey, we're smoky, we're peaty, we're smooth. That's what we are. And you've got the oakiness. I get a lot of oakiness from it, but other than that, it's because it's that one or sort of strong one thing that goes through it. It brings it together as a much smoother, nicer drink, I think. Yeah, I think it's delicious. Yeah. And I think if I was saying back the location of the factory, you could just imagine in the cold wind, sea lashing against the shore, and having a sip of this, and
definitely.
Might have a fire going. It really is that sailor about to sea. It is phenomenal.
It's very it's very evocative, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I've just added a bit of
That's what I was
water
gonna
to
say.
mine.
A bit of water.
Oh, right. It doesn't actually change the colour as much as I thought it would. The colour really, it's basically the same colour.
What does add in the water?
And yeah, unlike last week where obviously it changed the entire complexity. Do you guys agree with that, or do you think it has changed it?
No, but obviously lightens it a little bit.
I can get what you're saying though. I think it's not quite the same as it was. But then I've also this week taken the Martin approach of a couple of teaspoons of
Teaspoons,
a chunk of water.
Yeah, it's the universal beer tasting equipment.
I would say though, before we talk about what it tastes like without the water, I mean, it definitely doesn't need water. This whiskey.
No.
I actually prefer it with water though. It doesn't need it, but I do think it's a lot easier on the mouth with the water. It's very Moorish with the water.
Mm.
I think water softens it a little bit, as you'd imagine. I think it probably takes a little bit of that iodine sea saltiness away. I notice more of the barrel in that I get a bit more vanilla. I get more of the sherry fruit as well, the raisins, the currants, and a bit of that spice. So I think it's
takes a bit of a backward step, doesn't it, with the water?
Yeah.
I think it just changes the profile a little bit. I think I prefer it unadulterated, but I think it's nice with or without. And with poor old Inchmurrin, comparing it to that again, where we added the water and it made it a much better whiskey. It was a little bit too rough before. With this, it's just, do you prefer it? Do you prefer that kind of more wild, sea spray, smoky note, or do you prefer that slightly more cultured, toasty, fruity kind of profile? Because it's all in there. It's just the water's just bringing something else out. Delicious either way, though.
I mean, I think with sorry, Alex.
I never drink whiskey off the box, always on the box. So I think it's just perfect with it. We need to start adding some box in.
We do. To be honest, in this weather, I'm tempted. I really am. To
be honest with you, I think I was going to say, I think whilst it changes it, make it a bit easier. I think adding the water to this is a bit more of a, a sacrilege. I think because in its original form, it is such a unique tasting whiskey that represents where it's from, and it has that real taste and identity to it. By adding water, you sort of tailoring back its identity a bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that actually.
Oh yeah, I think that's one argument. But the other argument would be, we're talking about this as kind of whiskey novices, and adding a bit of water could make it more approachable to people. So I think it's an outstanding whiskey, and I think it's like one of the shining beacons of Scotch whiskey. But there could be stuff in there which is a little bit off-putting for people. But by maybe softening the profile a little bit and then building up to, the unadulterated version, possibly be a good thing. I agree with you, Charles. I think it's such an outstanding product that you kind of want to take it, as the distillery would like you to have. Their flagship product is a 16-year-old whiskey. They do produce an 8-year-old. I think they produce an 11-year-old as well, which is Nick Offerman's kind of exclusive one. But the 16-year-old is their flagship, and for them to have such an aged spirit as their flagship product, they take a lot of care and pride into this. So probably drink it as they suggest.
I feel it's good, but I just don't feel it's as good. We're going to disagree when it comes to the scores. I feel it's a good whiskey and it's better than the other week, but I just don't think it's good, but it's not great.
That's fair enough. And look at this. We're never going to agree on everything. I prefer another whiskey, which we might not taste in another week. Another Islay whiskey, but it's outstanding in its category. So,
Well, Dubai supplies willing. We'll try it.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Should we wrap it up with our score?
With our scores. The scores on our one-word summary, right?
Yeah, so on the moment, we've got one score on the table of the inch-mirroring, and you two unanimously decided.
All out on our table here, Charles.
I can't remember what I voted for last time.
You both went 7.5. I was a bit lower. I think I said 6.
Yeah, a bit low. Yeah.
I think I was obviously correct and you were wrong. And now based on now on this one, so I'm going to go with this 8.5 straight out. I think this is an outstanding whiskey. Real big fan of this.
I would actually agree with you. I would say 8.5 is what I was going to say. I thought you were going to go higher.
Got to leave yourself some room, haven't you?
Yeah, no, exactly. So I was gonna go for a 9, but then that doesn't leave me much place to go for, the best of the best. So I'm gonna go 8.5 as well.
Do you know what?
I mean, 8.5 is top 15% of all whiskies. I think that's what we're saying.
Well, at the moment, it's the top
50%. Yeah,
it's the top whiskey. Out of 2 whiskies,
giving this 8.5. I would actually reevaluate. Last time I'd probably knock my score down more. Not quite as far as Charles, but maybe half a mark or a mark off. I think that's
what you're basically saying is Charles is right and we should listen to him more often.
No, never.
It's not no, come on. It's not a 6.5 whiskey, that last one.
It's a 7. It is a 7.
That's still saying it's in the top, was it 35% of all whiskies? If I say it like that, I'm right,
I don't think statistics works like that, Charles.
Okay, then one
because it could be every single whiskey is 6.5. I think 8.5 is a fair score. So what was it, £55 roughly retailing in the UK, slightly more pricey. Never tends to be on promotion either. Generally because demand outstrip supply. They have very small stocks of that.
Yeah, I read something like that. They because of the slow process of it and the fact that they only make so many, they actually. I think they also work a 2-day week, so therefore they've just got a limited supply of it.
Yeah, and it's
when you take that into account, the fact that £50 or whatever it was for that bottle was outstanding good value. I think really.
Yeah, no, exactly. And this is how you judge value, right? Do you judge it against what's on the supermarket shelf, with £10 knocked off, or do you judge it at face value? And that this is a whiskey that's been in barrel for 16 years, where only a very small supply is done and released onto the market, and nobody else can get their hands on it. They bottle everything that they do. From that perspective, supply and demand, £55 is probably a fair shout. And you can see, when you go into pubs or restaurants and you're asking for a 25 ml measure of Lagavulin, you're paying £15 for it.
Just read how much I paid for it in Dubai. It was a lot more.
How much did you pay in Dubai for it?
Like £85.
Well, there we go.
Point. That was on offer, though.
That was on offer. I stand corrected. So, thankfully, it's an offer in Dubai for all our Dubai listeners, viewers.
Yeah, we'll get a link for the place where you bought it up on, and we'll take credit. Yeah, Suddenly going to soar in price.
Yeah.
If people want to know.
Anyway, I think one word is what we want, don't we?
One word.
Very hard. Every time I talk about this whiskey, I say one word, and it's delicious. But it's not necessarily a word that you would associate with it. It's smoky, isn't it?
I don't know. And again, this is buying into the whole branding stuff. I think luxurious. I just get that. What you were saying before, Charles, hitting the nail on the head. Having a smoking jacket on, in front of a fire, nice kind of cigar in one hand, one of these in the other. Be pretty happy with that. So luxury is what I think of this.
Yeah,
just gives the out of place. If you were sat down in front of a fire, nice cigars, and then you looked at the drinks trolley and it was sat on the drinks trolley, I just think the bottle would just look out of place.
I don't think. I think the bottling and the branding of it looks like a prestige. It looks like it's been around forever.
Yeah,
No, it's like, that's what it was. This is what we did 300 years ago. This is how we started bottling it, and we're still bottling that now. Prestige worldwide. I think that's what it is. Prestige worldwide.
So we're going for smoky, delicious, and what was yours, Martha? Luxurious.
Luxurious, yeah. Yeah. Fair old assessment, I think that was.
Yep, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Top tier board and have them on the list.
Yeah. So that's our most popular whiskey. Let's see what we have next time round.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Fingers.
Yeah, it will come up short after us. Thanks very much for watching. Salante.